Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. My name is William Fritz. For those of you that don't know who I am, I make videos for agriculture teachers with ideas that might just make the classroom a little bit easier, or the shop or a lab just a little bit more stress-free, because I have been teaching for 26 years, so I kind of have learned some tricks of the trade, as you might say. For those of you that don't know me, I teach in Rolla, North Dakota. Rolla is in the north central part of the state. The Canadian border is just a few miles north of me, so we are pretty rural type community in North Dakota. But today I thought I would show you or talk about activity that I do every semester, and it's the one activity I have done for 26 years of teaching. The kids like it. Most of the kids like it, but it's my math in agriculture. I'm a big believer that we do math in agriculture, reading in agriculture. Of course, agriculture is already science, so we already do science stuff in agriculture. I also will do some, you can say, social science in agriculture, so the kids get an understanding of maybe something that they're learning in one of their academic classes can be brought into the agriculture industry. So that's one thing that I do. So what I do is I just call it the farm game. I didn't come up with anything fantastic. It's pretty, I made it a simple name. I love the activity. It does create some work when you're doing it, but not hard work. You just got to remember to do it for 15 days in a row. So the farm game, what is it? So if I jump back over on my computer here, so the farm game is just math in agriculture. So this would be, if you want the lesson, this would be what I would send you, kind of the lesson plan of everything. It kind of goes through step by step of how to host the game, to do the game. Now, this isn't a whole class period activity for 15 days. It is literally 5 minutes of your class, and then you move on to what you've been working on in class. Now, the first day and the last day might take you the whole period, because kids have to figure net worth at the beginning and at the end, but that's about the only class time where you're going to use the whole period. Okay, the first couple rolls of the dice, like the first day, especially if it's kids that are new to the game, it might take them a couple days to get the idea of how the game works, but once they get going, it's pretty easy to do. So what do you need for the activity? So the most important thing is you need dice. Yes, you can just get the little dice and have kids roll the little dice, but that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Get big dice, okay? I used to have even bigger dice, big fluffy fuzzy dice, but over the years they just got kind of gross, so those went in the trash. But these dice, kids like to, and then when they take it, they'll just roll it across the classroom, so they have a little bit of fun with it, so that they can enjoy this. All right, so how do we start the game? I'm gonna go through the whole game so you understand it. Not 15 days worth of game, but you'll get the point once I get going. So the first day of the assignment or the activity, you need to give the kids their inventory sheet. All right, so this is their inventory sheet. So every kid starts with the same farm. All right, so they each get 4,500 grain acres, 100 acres of hay, 60 acres of pasture. They get some cows, they get slaughter steers, they get breeding ewes, they get hogs, they get goats. They get a lot of the animals. So that I always tell the kids I want to represent all of the people out there, but I also explain to them many farms will not have all of this. This is a lot of commodities to take care of. You know, you got farmers. I always tell kids that you have the farmers that have diverse farms so that it helps lower risk. But at the same time, I do that. Just like when you get down here, you know, we have grain bins. You know, they have 10 grain bins. Their grain bins are full. All right, and then they got their machinery here. And then I just give them a small little loan and their checking account, farm account. Okay, so what the kids have to do on the first day is I give them the value of 1 acre on here. They have to figure the value of all 4,500 acres. Okay, so if you decide to do this, this is my recommendation to you, is I use current prices so that they understand the market. All right, so if you get this, you're gonna probably have to put the current price of everything, value, I should say. What's the current value of a grain acre in our area or in your area? So you gotta change these out, okay? Now, you're gonna look at wheat, okay? That stuff's a little high right now, okay? But you can go ahead. I would go in here and change this to what the current value of a bushel of wheat is. So if 1 bushel is, you know, right now I have $8.73 for 1 bushel, you know, drop it down to that $4 area that it might be. I haven't checked it in a while because we just finished a couple weeks ago, so I don't know what it is. So that's what this is. They're gonna figure this all out. Then at the bottom of the sheet, they put their net worth, okay? In the end, it should be somewhere around, you know, 16 million. That's the net worth of that farm. All right, so once they have that, the kids get a second sheet. The second sheet is their math sheet. There's 15 spots on here. As you can see, I have 15 spots. It's 2 pages, front, back. All right, when they do that, they start with their net worth. They put their starting net worth right here. When we are done, we're gonna figure their ending net worth, and then I figure they have to figure their percent change. All right, so what do they put here? Okay, so what happens here is the kids roll the dice. They can roll a 1, they can roll a 2, they can roll a 3. Each day they roll a dice. So what happens, there's an event associated with that. So they'll write it here. And then over here, they must show me the math. What's the math for that problem? Is it adding? Is it subtracting? Is it multiplying? Is it dividing? It's a combination of stuff. There's really no algebra. It's your basic math. You know, it's figuring you have 28,000 bushels of corn that you are going to sell. You are selling it for, let's say, $5 a bushel. How much is that in the end? Okay. Now, I don't go that far, but you know, you have the cost of raising that corn. I don't do that step. I understand that. The kids and I will talk about that yes, you sold 28,000 bushels corn at $5 a bushel. You're going to get a big chunk of change. But we talk about there was money used to spend on that. But that's not what I'm looking for. I just want them to be able to do some math in agriculture. You know, so when people talk about, you know, selling 14,000 bushels of corn, I want them to understand, how did that farmer get that value? All right, they need to realize that the grain elevator sells it will buy it per bushel or hundredweight, and then go from there. We just stick to per bushel, not per hundredweight. Kids understand. Kids will understand the per hundredweight if you wanted to go there. Just make sure you explain it to them. I just keep it per bushel here. All right, so here is the thing. So what they do is they take their dice. They take their dice and they roll it. So I'm going to roll my dice. All right, that day that I would have gotten a 2. So I have them all numbered on my sheet here. So if I went here I have them all numbered, as you can see. I have some across the top here. So let's say we're on, so they roll a 2. Okay, well, sell 100 head of Black Angus cow calf pairs for $4,560 a pair. They're going to write that in the left-hand column, and in the right-hand column, they are going to do the math. Then what they have to do after they have done the math, they need to go back to their inventory. They need to add the money to their checking account. So they need to make sure that they cross off $100,000 and add the new one. So this number will change. And then up here, they have to change their inventory. Okay? They sold 100 head of Black Angus cow calves. So they will have to go refigure this. They don't change this number. This number always stays the same. So they're going to cross off 100, so that now this says 100 head of Black Angus cow calf pairs. So they'll take 100 times this to get their new net worth. This number will never change, just to keep it simple. So keep that in mind. All right, so that happens. They do this for 15 days. So if you make up your own, remember, it's a game. It can be a little wackadoodle. That's what I always use. That's my word of the year, because the kids always think, what's wackadoodle mean? All right, so we can have some little wackadoodle ones here. All right, so in the game, I always tell the kids that they're married and they have 4 kids. All right, and their spouse and their kids wreak havoc on their farm. All right, your children are playing with matches in the barn. They set the barn on fire with no chance to save it. All right, you didn't insure the barn because of its age. You lose the value of the barn plus $4,000 in cleanup costs. So they'll have to go to their checking account, subtract off $4,000, and then they'll have to come back to their inventory sheet and cross out their barn, because they no longer have the barn because it burnt down. So each day they roll a new number. Okay, sometimes kids will, especially the kids that have never played it before, they'll think they rolled a 1 on the first day, so they use 1 for the next 15. No, they re-roll every single day. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, it's a game. On day 10, I add the chance roll. So on day 10, I take, it's just called a chance roll. So if this person rolled a 3, they have a chance roll. The chance roll is something extreme, okay? They're either gonna get a bunch of money or they're gonna lose a bunch of money. So then that's just down here. All right, so if they roll a 1, a pickup parade, your classic farm truck gets featured in a TV commercial, you're collecting $50,000. All right. Here is a goat takeover. If you got a 2, your goat breaks into your feed shed and eats everything in sight. They pay $55,000. So those are chances. They're extreme. They make it fun. So keep that in mind when they're doing that. So when they get all done, they go ahead here and re-add all of their inventory, because remember, this is constantly changing. They re-add up their net worth. They go to this sheet here. They put their ending net worth, and then they figure their percent change. And then in the end, what I have a prize for the person who keeps the best records and has either the greatest percent increase or the least amount of decrease in the farm with no mistakes. I check each one of their math. This assignment takes a long time to grade because you're gonna have to grade. I go and redo all of their math for them and put plus or minus. If they're wrong, they get points off. If they're correct, they get the points. So it's a fun activity. My kids really enjoy it. Like I said before, I've been playing this for 26 years. So, all right, that's my farm game. I hope to see you in another video. Bye.